What's up, guys? KAMIKAZE-FOX coming to you from IRL round 20 of the F1 2018 season on the PS4 platform. I've got Lewis Marshall joining me in the booth again today, and we are
Hello,
at
everybody.
Suzuka
Suzuka.
for the penultimate round, where Suzuka has been on the calendar for IRL every year. Previous winners include John Hooft in Season 1, Kiki Malikish in Season 2, Gavin Parker in Season 3, and of course Matthew Alder last year. Pole position winners have gone to Kiki Malikish in Season 1 and 2. Cameron Weston Edwards had it in Season 3, and Matthew Alder had it last year. So the pole to win ratio is about 50%. And the championship was actually decided here back in Season 3, where Cameron Weston Edwards took pole from Gavin Parker. Took the lead off the line. The rain played its hand and threw the race wide open. Parker and Weston Edwards dropped to P5 and P6 after the rain, and a lot of cars left the circuit, left and right. Parker and Weston Edwards was passed by Ethan Croft, who led on the last lap at Degna 2, I'm sorry. But Cameron went up the inside at both and put a wheel in the grass and ran wide. Parker retook the lead of the championship. Only 4 cars finished that race, and that was Season 3, so that was quite a race at that time. So there's a 50% chance of rain. Well, I should say rain rate is 50%, so it's rained here twice. See if it rains here again today. We're going to go over the driver
Rain would
lineup.
be on today.
Oh, it looks like the driver lineup. We got looks like 20 drivers today. Brandon Glover, James Hallworth, Jack Hoyle, Alexander Bastos, Jay Fletcher, Louis Quinlan, Saba Siktu, Tyler Rhodes, Samuel Nazar, Oysen the Irishman, Aaron Collingwood, Paco Suarez, Thomas Scott, Ken Valhoon, Dave Migdam, Sondre Sorhaug, Adrian Storm, Felix Negwer, and then Lewis Marshall and myself both bringing you commentary. So the penultimate round for IRL.
Let's hope for a good one tonight.
Now to recap last round, round 19 at Germany, Jack Hoyle took home his 8th win of the year. He secured the championship back in Monaco, so really racing for pride, but he took home his 8th win. Samuel Nazar took home his first podium position of the year, and Jay Drawbridge came home in 3rd. That was his 9th podium of the year. And Felix Negwer had the race of the day, going from 16th to finishing 5th. And Jorge Correa, 2 races in a row, Jorge finished a race. Unfortunately, it wasn't for the points, but he did finish the race. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said for Louis Quinlan, who got caught in a very awkward virtual safety car glitch, and we
Wet
do have
race.
rain here for qualifying.
Rain. I said wet race, wet quali. So that's interesting already.
But to recap what I was saying about Louis Quinlan, he was taken out by Gabriel Ryan heading down into the hairpin. And then when he subsequently pulled into the pits after getting wing damage, there was a virtual safety car, and it was a virtual safety car glitch which hung Quinlan's car in the pit lane. Quinlan was forced to abandon the race, so unfortunately he gets served with another DNF, so that would make 10 DNFs on the season for Louis Quinlan, leads the league in a very unfortunate statistic. Meanwhile,
I believe qualifying this week was wet as well.
Jay Fletcher also picked up his 2nd DNF in a row last time out, and you are correct, that is 2 weeks in a row that we've had wet qualifying. Now, based on the conditions, I see Brandon Glover's heading out on intermediates.
Yeah.
Would you go for the inters, or would you try for full wets?
I'll go for inters. The track just doesn't look wet enough for full wets just yet. So I think the full wets will just overheat in these conditions. Plus it's not raining that hard, really. It's just spitting. It makes the track a bit damp.
I'm right on board with Brandon Glover up through the S's. So everybody's starting their out lap. And Jack Hoyle picked up his 7th pole position last week in the rain as well.
I'm not expecting a good qualifying for Sondre, because we all know he hates the wet on this game.
And Sondre is still playing with no assists, trying to improve his racing a little bit, but going with no assists, no ABS, no traction control, that's going to be real hard for him in any type of condition that's beyond dry.
I know Sondre does race with no traction anyway, so Sondre is just practicing no ABS, pretty much.
We've already got a caution in Sector 1. We got a few guys chatting it up in the live chat. We've got Marcel Haller, Aaron Collingwood, and of course we've got the new guy, Oysen McC, or Oysen MC, Irishman, reserve driver for F1, F2, making his first appearance of the year.
Big C says Aaron's retirement lasted long. Yeah, that's true, to be fair.
Yeah, Aaron Collingswood, retirement for the year lasted about 2 weeks, and he's been back ever since.
I don't think he raced last week. I might be wrong. Oh, and there's a Renault off track. That's in the S section.
That's Dave Meagdom. Looks like he's struggling to get back on track. Through the gravel. Looks like he's trying to stay out of the way. Other cars coming through. There goes the Sauber of Jorge Correa.
I think that was Felix. Oh. Yeah, Felix is in last sector. I think the first one to finish their time will be Brandon Glover in the Mercedes.
And we jump back to Brandon Glover. He's in Sector 2. Getting ready to head down into the Spoon section. Spoon's a real complicated corner for somebody who doesn't race all the time. Spoon is one of the corners that usually calls me out on this track.
Yeah, I was doing practicing yesterday in Japan, and Spoon was just getting me all the time. Like in the dry, I was either going in too fast and running wide, or going too slow, then losing too much time. And I did see Thomas Scott getting a grid penalty, and now Aaron Collingwood has just crashed out, I believe. So maybe Aaron is thinking retirement again.
So Collingwood is not going to set a time. Jack Hoyle was, and Brandon Glover has a massive off heading into turn 1, as he just went 3rd quickest. But Collingwood retires from the session. Who picked up the 5-second penalty?
It was Tom Scott in the Force India.
Thomas Scott, and he had contact with another driver.
It's a Williams off on the start finish. That's a Tyron.
That's
have no idea.
Hoon, and he looks like he's having some issues there.
No idea how he crashed on the straight.
And he is very much off the pace. Oh, he's letting a car go by. So 8th quickest for him with a 142. So really, if he hadn't, if Canfield Hood hadn't had that incident on the front stretch, he might have actually set a very good time. He's 142 coming across. The 3 drivers cracked into the 139s. Jay Fletcher being the quickest. Track.
Sondre's in the gravel now, in the S section.
Pick up Sondre Sorhaug in the Toro Rosso. A lot of drivers are struggling for grip even on these intermediates. Maybe the track is a little wetter than perceived. And caution in Sector 2 again.
Maybe they're just aquaplaning on them inters. And just going straight off track, maybe.
They pick up Louis Quinlan in the S section. Looks like he's struggling with some grip as well. Back end wants to slide out.
Oh yeah, I'm on board with him. It's just ice skating this way. Oh, I thought he was going to go off then.
Quinlan, who's had a very abysmal year as far as even remotely finishing a race, and you can see him just struggling.
Yeah.
Paco Suarez goes 8th quickest, and Quinlan goes off
Oh,
track.
he's gone.
I'm going to pick up Thomas Scott. Thomas Scott's on an out lap. Looks like he might still be on the intermediates. He is still on the inters. That's... I got to say, I think I would take my chances with the wets right now, especially for some of the guys that have yet to set a time. Dave Meagum hasn't set a time. He's still out on the inters as well.
I'm just trying to see if the rain's getting any heavier. Because the spray, to me, looks like... The spray looks more heavier. So that could be a reason why drivers are struggling right now.
And Jack Hoyle, 138.795, the only driver to break into the 138s. Nothing new there. Hoyle at the top of the charts.
You've got Jay Fletcher and Brandon Glover not far behind though. In the low 39s.
Aaron Collingwood has said in the live chat that he's only doing a one-off race, so he's not necessarily out of retirement yet. Brandon Glover, second quickest, 138.930. Good run for him.
The new PSGL F6 champion, Mike Tayad, from last night. As we've got Big C in the chat, the director of PSGL. I think Tyler Rhodes is starting a lap in his McLaren. And it's looking fairly tidy through turn 1.
We'll pick up Tyler Rhodes as he heads through the S's. Rhodes has been a little bit of a surprise this year since he's joined the league. He's been fairly quick. He also had that incident back in Spa where he took out a driver.
I think he had a podium in Australia, and I believe he got a good result last week as well. So Tyler's in great form recently.
He came home 4th last week at round 19 in Germany, and yes, he did pick up his first podium of the year at Australia, which was really a race of attrition, which was kind of surprising for a track like Australia. Rhodes looks like he's on a pretty good lap here.
Yeah, I've been on board with him all lap. He seems fairly clean. He's had a couple of moments with the back end.
Oh, and Quinlan has retired from the session. We saw how much he was struggling with grip. Brandon Glover now, 138.531. Oh, and through the 130R, Rhodes runs very wide. That may invalidate his time.
I'm guessing he just turned in a bit too late, maybe. But if it's not invalid, it looks like a pretty quick lap. And he goes P5, just behind Felix, the former champion.
So a really good lap for Tyler Rhodes, and actually that could have been quicker had he hit the 130R correctly, but he's the only car that I've seen so far that hasn't seemed to be struggling for any grip issues on the intermediates. Now Jack Hoyle's coming out of the pits, and he looks like he's still in the intermediates as well.
Apparently Thomas Scott was on
super soft tires. Negwer just went 3rd quickest with a 138.916. So I guess the racing line is starting to come in a little bit. We've got a caution in Sector 1. It's one of the Renaults off at the S's again.
Yeah. I think it's just letting people past.
Caution in Sector 1 still.
Oh, I was just on board with Felix then. He almost lost it as well.
We've still got...
Oh, there's Ocean off track. I'm not sure where that is.
Looks like that's at the hairpin.
Yeah.
Looks like he's way off to be letting people by. I don't know if he had an issue getting into the hairpin.
Maybe he just broke a bit too late and just went straight on.
He's yet to set a time, unfortunately. We've got a caution in Sector 2 that he's heading through right now. And he just dropped the right side of the tires into the grass. That was A little tight there. So he's yet to set a time. Neither is Sondre Sorhaug, and neither has James Hallworth. Hallworth is out on the outlap, as is Thomas Scott.
I think Sondre's about to finish a lap. He goes over that bump, which is a killer. That's only a 1:41.3. That puts him P10.
10th quickest for Sorhaug, who has struggled all year in the wet.
It was X-Storm. But Sondre's got knocked down to P11 straight away. I'm not sure if he beat him. I think it was tiring, maybe.
And Jay Fletcher to the top of the charts. 1:38.416. He heads down into turn 1. So he's a 10th quicker than Brandon Glover. To pick up Jack Hoyle, who's on a hot lap at this point.
Yellow flag set to 2.
He's getting ready to head down into the hairpin here.
It's Jorge Carrera. Where is that? I think that's just after the hairpin.
Yep, he just let Jack Hoyle go by. So an all for Jorge Correa. Oh, it looks like Jack might have lost a little bit of time through Spoon. He heads down the backstretch. He had a little bit of snap oversteer. It looked like heading through Spoon. Runs it a little wide to the 130R.
Wouldn't lose too much time.
It's going to be close. 137.769. Going to be close, my butt. That was a second. That was a second plus over top of Jay Fletcher's time. So unbelievable time by Jack Hoyle. Does anybody have anything for Jack Hoyle this race? 4 minutes left to play in the qualifying session, and things are starting to heat up here. Jay Fletcher looks like he's going to cut the chicane and head into the pits.
I think Brandon Glover's about to start a lap. He's come to 130R with new inters on.
A lot of guys are into the pits. Looks like they're going to switch over to new tires one more time.
I wonder if loads of people are struggling because they're in dry setups. Because we've seen a lot of people go off in qualifying.
That's a good point. And Suzuka is known to be a very hard track to pass on in general, not just in actual F1, but in the game as well. Yeah. Not really too many braking points to really take advantage of the DRS. Turn 1, going into the 130R, are your best spots, and into that chicane at the end in the hairpin. But other than that, the way this track is set up, it's a very rhythmic track with the S's and Degna 1 and 2, and going through there, it's usually going to be single file. So qualifying is going to be key. So a lot of these guys, I think, are going to be called out if they are on dry setups.
I think if they're in dry setups, I think that's smart if it's a dry race. Because if you're on wet setup just for quali, you're just going to be slow in the race. And you don't get any points for qualifying. So...
Reading FC has asked on the live chat if this is the last race of the season, and the answer is no. This is the penultimate round. Round 21 will be at Brazil at Interlagos, but that'll be in 2 weeks' time. Next week we are going to be taking the week off because it is Easter Sunday next week. So the week after that we will be at Interlagos to close the season out for F1. Thomas Scott has retired from the session. He was 6th quickest. A good qualifying effort for him. Here comes Brandon Glover to end his lap, and he's going to be 1:38.314, so he improves his time, but it was invalidated, and that would have been good enough for second.
And I feel like Jack Hoyle was going to do another lap. Like,
Brandon Glover technically has enough time to do 2 more laps to try and get that top spot. It looks like Hoyle is in the midst of a lot of traffic here as he goes around one of the Saudis.
Suarez spins at the hairpin. He does what Ocean did, I believe, at the hairpin. I think he dipped his way into the grass. Yeah. This AI needs to be careful. I'm not sure if it's allowed to retiring on track. Anyway.
So Suarez calls it a day after his spin at the hairpin. He was 5th quickest. Cautions in sector 2 and 3. That's got to be at the end of Spoon.
It's James Horworth in the Ferrari. He's lost a bit of his front wing.
And it looks like Jack Hoyle, he's going to try one more lap. He came across the line doing a 1:45. So I'm going to say traffic probably played a factor in that, because when we picked Jack Hoyle up, it was just after the hairpin where Suarez had gone off and he was passing the slower car of Jorge Correa, who Correa just called it a day as well. He's currently 15th quickest.
I'm on board with Oishin, who's under pressure right now, and in P17 with his best lap as a 2 minutes 7.3.
That sounds more like an out lap time than it does anything else.
Yeah. That's like 25 seconds slower than Louis Quinlan, the next car in front.
Pick up Jay Fletcher, who's in the S's. So far, he's 2nd quickest, 1:38.416. Canville Hoon's going to call it a day. He was 8th quickest. Fletcher just blows by one of the Saubers. That would be Felix Negwer, and he's just called it a day as well.
I think Felix would be happy with P4.
A caution in the hairpin area here. James Hallworth comes across the line, so his time is locked in, 1:46.01. Dave Meaghan goes 6th quickest, good for him. Tyler Rhodes jumps to 2nd fastest with a 1:38.344. Good qualifying effort by him as we continue to watch Jay Fletcher. Oishin comes across the line 6th. Dave Meaghan is 8th now. Jay Fletcher heading down the backstretch. Oh, look at this. Jack Hoyle, 1:37.059. Just to put a knuckle in everybody's back. Nobody's going to top that time.
3 seconds.
Fletcher has oversteered going through the 130R, almost lost it.
Jack Hoyle reminds me of last week I compared him to Vettel. This week I just got to compare him to Matthew Alder.
And Fletcher smashes into the Armco at the front stretch, comes across the line 1:38.416.
I think Brandon Glover's on another lap.
Brandon Glover. Glover is...
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's P2.
Glover P2, and he had to dodge the car of Jay Fletcher. So, another pole position for Jack Hoyle. And this is his 8th pole position of the year.
Making it look easy.
And really, I mean, if the race is wet, actually, even if the race is dry, I mean, Jack Hoyle's pretty much got this one in the bag, unfortunately. So here's going to be your starting position. Jack Hoyle, Brandon Glover, Tyler Rhodes, Jay Fletcher, Felix Negwer, Oishin, Paco Suarez, Dave Meaghan, Saba Siktu, Thomas Scott, Canville Hoon, Alexander Bastos, James Hallworth, Adrian Storm, Sondre Sorhaug, Jorge Correa, Louis Quinlan, and Aaron Collingwood, who did not set a time, will be rounding out the 18 drivers for today's race.
And Thomas Scott's got a 5-place grid penalty, so he'll drop down to 15th. So Tyrant, Bastos, James, whoever was behind James, and Sondre would move up a position. And
we do have ourselves a dry race, so unless some sort of misfortune falls to Jack Hoyle, pretty much everybody's going to be racing for second at this point. I mean, he was a second plus faster than everybody else in qualifying.
Maybe Jack Hoyle was using a wet setup. Maybe that's why he was so fast. But I'm pretty sure he would have chosen a dry setup. And
Jay Fletcher has left the session. Not sure if that's an internet issue or a premature rage quit.
I doubt it's a rage quit just before the race. It'd be kind of silly if it was.
So to start the formation lap, Jack Hoyle picks up his 8th pole position of the year, and he'll be looking to pick up his 9th win of the year. He'll be followed by Brandon Glover. This is his best qualifying effort since Hungary, where he started on pole position. Tyler Rhodes with a great qualifying effort. We talked about him a little bit during qualifying and how quick he's been throughout the year. Has a podium to his credit, Australia, and came home 4th last week. He'll be looking to finish on the podium again today. Jay Fletcher is going to be starting 4th. Looks like he has rejoined the session. Felix Negwer 5th. He'll be looking to try and creep his way to another podium spot. Oysen making his F1 2018 IRL debut as a reserve in the Mercedes. He'll be looking to put some points on the board for sure. And Paco Suarez will be in the Red Bull as he slides off. Not a good way to start the formation lap.
He did the max.
And he's going to be hit by one of the Force Indias. So luckily it's the formation lap. Dave Meekum starting 8th. He'll be looking to put some points on the board. Saba Siktu, who's had flashes of speed this year but hasn't been able to capitalize, will be looking to try and creep his way through the field, put some points on the board. Canville Hoon starting 10th. Alexander Basto starting at 11th. He's a good mid-pack driver, usually finishes in the points. He'll be looking to do that again today. And James Hallworth has had a rough season. He'll be looking to try and put that Ferrari at least in the 10th spot to put some points on the board. And Adrian Storm, who impressed early on in the year, has been quiet as of late. He'll be looking to try and get back to his old form and put some points on the board. And Sondre Sorhaug, if he can't put points on the board, he'll be looking to do the fastest lap as he continues to practice and struggle with no assist.
Just left again.
Jay Fletcher looks like he may be having internet issues. And Thomas Scott will be starting 15th. He'll be looking to try and creep his way into the points. And Jorge Correa is coming off of 2 straight finishes, which is a big deal for him, and he'll be looking to go make it 3 in a row. Hopefully he can get to the points today. And Louis Quinlan, unfortunately, is looking to just finish a race this year. 10 DNFs for him. And Aaron Collingwood says he's doing a one-off return for today. Collingwood has got a couple of podiums and a couple of wins to his credit so far this year before he decided to call it quits. He'll have to work his way through the field starting 18th. It'll be interesting to see what kind of strategy he runs and see what he can do throughout the course of this race.
I'm just looking at the tyre choices as well. Suddenly there's people on the mediums, loads of people on softs, and only Oysen on the super soft tyres.
5 red lights. We wait for him to go out. Time to run with LeBrun. Everybody's away in a puff of smoke. Hoyle gets a good start.
Great start by Hoyle.
Tyler Rhodes also has a good start on the outside of Brandon Glover down into turn 1. Glover's going to be able to hang on to the spot. Rhodes gets a good run coming back out of turn 1 though and into the S's. And Hoyle is already starting to gap the field at a half-a-second clip. Through the S's, they're going to go side by side, and that's not going to work. Everybody's going to follow single file. Tyler Rhodes now going to be coming under pressure from Felix Negwer and Oysen in the Mercedes. Uh-oh, somebody's dropping through the field big time.
It's Tyron.
That's Canville Hoon, who started 10th. Oh, we've got one of the... That's Korea off.
He just hit off Jorge, yeah. And
Paco Suarez.
Aaron Collingwood is P7.
An amazing start for Collingwood.
18th to 7th.
And only in a matter of corners. It hasn't even been a half lap. Tyler Rhodes just made the move on Brandon Glover for second. Glover tucks in behind him as they head up the backstretch to the 130R. And look at this. Jack Hoyle is already 2.5 seconds in front. Oh, and they both go side by side. Oh, no, and that's one of the... That's Oysen, and he's done. It's a big crash.
Huge crash.
Oh, and he gets hit again.
Oh. And Aaron's got speeding in pit lane penalty after a great start.
So Aaron Collingwood's going to drop to the field. Felix Negwer loses a position now to Brandon Glover. And look at this. They are nose to tail heading through the S's. This is Brandon Glover, Felix Negwer, and Dave Meekum in the Renault. We don't get to talk about him too much. Up here scrapping it up with some of the big guys. Tyler Rhodes has now gapped Brandon Glover. Felix Negwer, he's on the mediums. He's trying to close that gap down to Brandon Glover. Meanwhile, I've got James Hallworth, who has moved into the 7th spot. He's starting to close in on Paco Suarez. Adrian Storm's in a 3-way battle here. This is Saba
Oh, wow.
Siktu.
Yeah, look at this.
Alexander Bastos. As they head down into Spoon.
Oh, look at the Haas.
Ooh, a little bit of a lockup on the left front.
They've got a battle between Louis Quinlan and Tom Scott for P11. And it looks like Tom's going to get him down the inside at 130R.
Looked like Adrian Storm was thinking about making a move. Oh my goodness, they're going to be 3 wide almost going down into the chicane.
Oh, wow.
Saba Siktu holds off Adrian Storm. And now the DRS is enabled. That's going to definitely shake things up, especially heading down to the front stretch here.
There's no DRS on my screen.
I didn't see any either. I saw that it was enabled. I didn't see anybody have the slot actually open.
Yeah.
Perhaps it will be activated at the next activation zone.
Yeah, I believe that. I think is it only the start finish with the DRS point?
Looks like Adrian Storm had the back end step out on his car, so he lost some ground here to Alexander Bastos and Saba Siktu, but he gets it right back. Now he's right behind them two as they go side by side through the hairpin.
We've got Thomas Scott catching up as well. So it's going to be a 4-way fight for P8.
Oh, everybody drops the right side tires into the grass as they head into Spoon.
Oh,
Looked like
Storm's
a little bit of wing damage.
Yeah, that's from Adrian Storm. I think
And Bastos is there. Bastos not close enough to make a move.
Look at Thomas Scott right behind Storm as well. It's the same.
Oh, he dives it in there! Oh my goodness, what a move by Thomas Scott to take that position from Adrian Storm. He stuffed that in there deep. And Storm heads into the pits and he picks up a 5-second stop and go penalty for speeding into the pit lane. So now Saba Siktu hangs on to the 8th spot, but he's being pursued by 2 Force Indias. Look at the move, the power, the run that...
Yeah.
Look at Alexander Bastos made a great run coming out of turn 1 to take that... Or actually, I'm sorry, it was Thomas Scott over Bastos. We've got the battle rages on between the Toro Rossos.
We've got James
Sondre Sorhaug. Oh, Louis Quinlan just went off the track and hard into the wall. Bangs the left side wheels as he messed up heading at Degna 2. And Quinlan has retired from the session. Another DNF for Louis Quinlan. Make that 11 on the year.
It's round 20, and he's retired more than half of the races this season.
Meanwhile, Sondre Sorhaug is closing in on Jorge Correa for the 11th spot.
We've got a battle for P4 right now between Felix, David, Paco Suarez, and James Hallworth.
We pick up Dave
Yeah,
Meekum.
that's sector 3. That is...
Oh, look at Meekum goes, he loses it. He clipped the curve heading down into turn 1. He's going to lose 2 positions. Oh, and he just almost clips James Hallworth's tires with his wing.
Needs to be careful of desync, obviously, as well.
So Meekum loses 2 positions.
I don't think it's got any damage.
Thomas Scott, meanwhile, is all over the back of Saba Siktu. Right on his tail. He's going to try and make a move down here at the hairpin. Oh, and look at this. He dives it in there. He did the same thing at the chicane. He stuffed it in there deep. He is good on the brakes. Thomas Scott with another power move to pick up another position. Can Saba Siktu get it back?
maybe into one dirty R, but no.
Meanwhile, you've got this
Tom's
battle materializing.
four-way
Fourth,
fight.
fifth, sixth, and seventh, covered by a second and a half. Saba 6-2
And
not
David
close
gets
enough
a
to make a
penalty.
move.
I'm watching Paco Suarez and Felix.
And Suarez is closing the gap with that DRS. Good run
Felix
down
is on
into
the
turn one.
mediums. Felix on the mediums is struggling, which I can imagine. I did some medium testing yesterday and they were awful.
So what is the
Yeah,
optimal
like
tire
so.
strategy for this track?
Probably softs to mediums, or you can do mediums to softs or mediums to supers.
If you did mediums to supers, though, that would be a really long first stint.
Yeah. I think someone like Jack Coyle could do mediums to supers just because his tyres will probably be fine because he's had no action all race.
And Jack Hoyle has pulled out to almost a 3-second lead over Tyler Rhodes. And Tyler Rhodes, respectively, is 2 seconds over Brandon Glover. And Glover's 2 seconds over this battle here for fourth.
It looks like another strong track for Tyler.
Oh, and look at this.
Paco
Suarez to the inside, and he's going to make it work. No. Negwer tries to hold him off, pushes him wide into the grass a little bit.
That was like a Verstappen and Raikkonen moment last season, if you remember, in Japan.
Suarez might have something to say about that.
I think that was fair enough from Felix. He defended his position and squeezed him off track.
So through the S's, James Hallworth having a real good run in sixth, and he's caught this battle for fourth. Oh, and look at that. Suarez ran wide coming up the top of the hill.
We got Sondre right behind Alexander Bastos, the last points paying position.
Looks like Bastos is struggling with his tires as well, just a little bit.
Them mediums don't look good just yet, but I imagine they'll be better than the softs around lap 11, lap 12.
Down into Spoon. Oh, and Sondre's car kind of slides out. It's like a four-wheel drift almost. You can see the understeer as he tried to turn in. The car just didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Suarez has caught the back end of Felix Negwer as they head down the front stretch, so...
He's easily going to get him for turn one.
Oh, Negwer takes the more defensive line. He's all the way to the inside, down into the blend line. Oh, and Suarez is going to get pushed wide again. Good defensive move by Felix Negwer. And Negwer is making that car very wide.
I believe Felix is, just like Cameron Russell Edwards, is just awesome at defending. It's annoying being stuck behind people like that.
Oh, and Suarez runs wide at the top of the hill again. He's going to lose a little bit of ground. And James Hallworth is just kind of lurking back here, waiting for something to happen. Meanwhile, while
James could get possible podium if like one of the top three makes a mistake.
While these three are battling it out for this position, Dave Beekman is actually closing in a little bit.
And if oh, Jack Coyle, it's got no wing. It's lost its wing. Tyler Rhodes has passed in. Brandon Glover's not far behind.
Something has happened to Jack Hoyle.
Yeah, I think.
And he's missing the, what is that, the left front end plate?
Left. Yeah. And he's pitting. I'm not surprised. And he's
Oh,
got
and a 5-second
40.
stop and go penalty to add to it. What has happened to Jack Hoyle? This race is unraveled here.
I'm guessing must have just made a mistake.
I mean, he was essentially 3 seconds almost in front of Tyler Rhodes.
And I don't think it was back markers because Storm's only at 130R now. Tyler Rhodes could win this race. But to be fair, I think Felix is in a great position to win this race now. Because he'll be in the quicker tyres at the end.
Well, I think this is going to ramp up the intensity a little bit as well, because now people are going to know that, especially Tyler Rhodes and Brandon Glover, since they were so close to Jack Hoyle, they're going to know that he had a problem.
Yeah.
If they smell blood, they might be able to pounce and capitalize on his misfortune.
I think Felix is going to win. If he pulls the gap out to Paco and not getting penalties, and Adrian Storm's spawn at the S section.
And Jack Hoyle is just making the pass for 11th as he gets around Aaron Collingwood, which is interesting having two fast drivers like that. They're actually battling it out. And Jack Hoyle looks like he's on these supers.
Yeah.
He is not going to be able to run supers to the end of this race.
No, he won't. I imagine he'll go to softs at the end.
So Suarez once again is going to try and make a move on Negwer as they head down into turn 1. Oh, and Negwer runs a little wide. He's able to bring it back, though. That was piping close for Negwer.
Look at James in P5. He's just waiting. If these two crash each other out, he'll be on the podium.
I think James is doing the right thing right now and just try and maintain pace and just stick with those two drivers. Because if something does happen between those two, he'd be in the catbird seat to capitalize on it. Not to mention, he can make his pit strategy based off of theirs. If they dive into the pits, he can go with them. That way he doesn't lose the gap to them.
I think the overcuts will actually be good here. Because I imagine the guys on the softs will go to mediums. And I think the cold to mediums will just be too slow. So I think the overcut will be quicker for James if he thinks that.
Now, Megan was closing in on this battle, but it looks like he's fallen off the pace a little bit. He's 2.5 seconds behind those three cars.
If I was Felix, I'll really put the foot down, pull away from Paco, and look, just get a second or two on him, get a DRS, then concentrate on the top two.
Alan Canvilhoun has retired from the session. Looks like he may have had it off Suarez trying to go around the outside, not going to make it work.
Felix is defending really well right now. Looks like Felix has been taking lessons from Cameron.
Jack Hoyle just set the fastest lap of the race, but he is currently running 11th.
Good looks Andre beating that at the end of the race.
Canvilhoun's going to officially lead the session. So we started with 18 drivers. Actually, I should say 17. Jay Fletcher was unable to start the race. Must have had some internet issues. Canvilhoun, Louis Quinlan, and Oysen have all been DNFs so far. Oysen was the first one. Had a massive crash heading into the chicane. Louis Quinlan had an off at Degna 2, called it a day, and Canvilhoun is just going off as well. And it looks
I'm just on board with Tyler Rhodes, and since Australia, it's like he's changed as a driver. He's just found more pace somehow, and now is a front runner of this league.
James Hallworth has caught the back of Paco Suarez, and he is looking to make a move. Suarez dives to the inside down into the pits. I don't think James was ready for that.
Paco speeds into the pits.
And a 5-second stop and go. We've seen that multiple times today. Thomas Scott, 5-second stop and go now for speeding into the pit lane.
So it's just going to be crucial not to speed in the pits.
And look at that's going to move Sondre all the way up into 5th. Alexander Bastos comes out of is moving into 6th. Jack Hoyle, though, is in the 7th now.
Jack is praying for a safety car right now.
Now, well, the odds of a safety car here are not very good, especially with a track this big and this wide open.
Just
so much runoff here.
The game just doesn't like safety cars for some reason.
And honestly, if there was no safety car for Oysen, he goes to the inside of Degna, almost runs wide.
What a move from the Red Bull driver.
But if there was no safety car for Oysen's crash at the hairpin, there certainly isn't going to be a safety car at all. And a 3-second time penalty for Felix Negwer.
If James has no penalties, he's on the podium right now.
And Jorge Correa. Correa and Saba Siktu. Oh, and they're rubbing together down. They've got wheels locked. These guys are stuck together. Unbelievable. Saba Siktu is pushing. Jorge Correa is pushing back. This is not going to end well. Unbelievable.
Wait, was that desync or was that?
Possible desync, possible aggressive driving. It is hard to say.
I've seen it a few times in this game that some cars are on top of the other car, and it's not very PG.
Correa runs wide out of the 130R, almost lost the back end of the car. Meanwhile, Paco Suarez, he just got around James Hallworth.
Yeah, James just pitted, and actually, I might be wrong with the overcut thing. The undercut looks pretty good because Paco's pitted, warmed up the mediums, and James actually came out close to Paco, but and then called mediums. He just lost all that time again.
And Jack Hoyle has just gotten around Sondre Sorhaug for the 3rd spot.
And Tyler Rhodes has pitted, so that promotes Brandon Glover to the leads for now.
Tyler Rhodes is going to come up 5th.
If Felix is going to do mediums to supers, I think he could win this race. Plus, if the top 2 get penalties, which I don't think they have.
Yeah, because chances are Jack Hoyle is going to have to pit at least one more time. I seriously doubt he's going to be able to run those supers all the way to the end of this race.
Yeah, for sure. I think Jack will pit lap 17, lap 18.
And we're just getting word from the president. Just a couple of quick notes. Felix Negwer hasn't won for 128 days. Brandon Glover hasn't won for over a year. It's 427 days since Glover's last win. Obviously, Tyler Rhodes, new to the league this year, he's never won a race. And James Hallworth, who is currently 9th, it's been 392 days since his last podium. So Glover and Hallworth are be looking to try and get a win or a podium in their respective cars. Negwer, last year's champion, hasn't had a win this year.
Wait, do you say Felix hasn't got a win this season?
I do believe he does have a win. It has been 128 days.
Yeah. Felix won in Canada start the season. It was me, I remember that. Me and Felix had a good battle.
Yeah, Felix actually did have a good start to the season. You watch this battle. This is Sondre Sorhaug and Tyler Rhodes.
And Felix is pitting already.
Felix had won at round 1 in Canada and then actually came home 3rd at Coda in round 2. So really, it's been from the beginning of the season to the end of the season since Felix has won a race.
It's since Jack Coyle turned up.
Oh no, I just picked up Paco Suarez and he is off in the grass.
Oh,
and
he's
he calls it a day. He calls it a day. No, Paco, no.
Don't quit like that.
I saw that he was 0.4 of a second behind, I think it was Felix Negwer, and as soon as I picked up his feed, he was in the grass and against the wall, and he's going to call it a day. Now you've got two cars coming through, side by side, oh no!
Who are you watching?
I think there was Adrian Storm got caught up by Paco Suarez's AI car. And it was Adrian Storm. He was running side by side with Sabasiktu, and they caught the back end of Suarez's car. And unfortunately, Suarez's car was in the way, and Storm rear-ended him.
Sabasiktu.
Oh no, Sabasiktu now.
He's gone off the hairpin, lost his wing, and also decides to retire.
He may have had some contact with Paco Suarez's car as well. So that's going to make
Sondre gets a speeding penalty.
That's going to make Jorge Correa your last remaining running driver in 13th, as he is now coming up on the section, the hairpin section where Sabasiktu had gone off.
We've got a virtual safety car, and this is actually, who would this help?
I don't know. Jack Hoyle just pitted for softs.
It could help Jack quite a lot, because everyone's got a delta. They have to obey of the speed limit. So I think Jack could still get P6, P5 maybe.
He's going to have the freshest tires of anybody right now with 11 laps remaining in this race on the virtual safety car. And I imagine that's from the very rapid retirements of Paco Suarez, Sabasiktu, and then obviously
and Sondre, a driving penalty.
So Sondre looks like he was trying to keep pace with Jack Hoyle. So we're under green again. Virtual safety car is done, and Aaron Collingwood is all over the backside of Tyler Rhodes for the second spot.
I believe Aaron's in the pit for supers in a few laps' time.
He's going to have the DRS helping him down into turn 1.
Aaron showing good pace and 15-lap-old mediums.
And he makes a move down into turn 1, dives it in there. Tyler Woods didn't stand a chance.
Late braking.
Tyler Rhodes, I should say.
I think that was smart of Tyler. He doesn't need to fight Aaron. Aaron's on a different strategy.
Yeah, but does Tyler know that he's on a different strategy is going to be the question.
He can just ask his race engineer, and he'll say that he's on 15-lap-old mediums. So...
Aaron Collingwood is... He's made one stop. But yeah, he is on 15-lap-old mediums. Glover's on 16-lap-old softs. Those two are probably going to have to pit again.
Yeah, Brandon's great on his tyre saving.
Realistically, Tyler Rhodes might be in the catbird seat if he can. He would have to close the gap to Brandon Glover a little bit. It would be real close right now under the pit stop delta if Brandon Glover pitted for tires. It'd be real close.
It's going on to super soft tyres. So I said mediums to soft, just mediums to supers. Brand's done softs to supers, and I'm struggling to talk right now.
This is going to be close.
And Aaron also pits.
Glover's going to get him coming out. Here comes Tyler Rhodes. Rhodes is going to be side by side with him. Only going to have it just by a little bit.
I think Brandon's going to win.
But Brandon Glover's going to be on fresh super softs. And Jack Hoyle just went 1:29.636 to pick up the fastest lap. And these two have to be careful heading through the S's.
Sondre picks up his drive-through penalty and gets another speeding in pits.
Sondre is having a really rough day.
Oh my god.
So the battle for the lead now, and essentially what could be possibly the battle for the win, is only separated by 0.3 of a second. A lock up there by Tyler Rhodes as he heads into the hairpin. Brandon Glover trying to get the power down. He's on those fresh supers. Glover's got to be careful picking his spot to make his move.
It's going to be one hell of a drive for Tyler to keep Brandon behind.
I think the thing to do here is for Glover just to maintain his spot until he gets the DRS heading down on the front stretch. There's no point in making a move, but he's going to try and move around the outside of 130R. That's not going to work.
That was a,
And he dives it into the inside at the hairpin. That was close.
For Tyler.
And he's got to run his side by side. It's a drag race now down the front stretch, but Glover's going to have the DRS.
I think that's it. I think Brand's going to walk away with this now. And look, Felix isn't far behind, 3.5 seconds off Tyler on these soft tyres, so Felix could fight for P2.
Jack Hoyle just ran the fastest lap, but Thomas Scott is keeping pace with him for the 6th position. He's only a half-second back.
Yeah.
He did not. And Jack is now closing in on Dave Meaghan in the Renault, who's having a really good run in the 5th. I don't think he's going to be able to hold off Jack Hoyle, though. Hoyle, Degna 2 coming out of there. He's going to get a good run down towards the hairpin. Oh, and the Thomas Scott. I think he got excited because he was keeping pace with the best, but Thomas Scott ran wide. Oh, and Sondre is disqualified from the session. What did Sondre do?
He was trying to pit because of his driveway penalty. Because he got so many stop-go penalties, game kept pitting him. So he ran out of laps to do his drive-through. He got disqualified.
So, really unfortunate end to Sondre Sorhaug's race. It's not often we have somebody disqualified in the middle of a race.
I've never seen that before.
The good news is that doesn't count as a DNF. It's a disqualification, which is a Jones statistic, so really bad day for Sondre Sorhaug, unfortunately for him. Meanwhile, back at the front of this, Brandon Glover has pulled out a 1.3 second gap over Tyler Rhodes. Felix Negwer is still 3 seconds behind in 3rd. James Hallworth having a good run, but he's got Jack Hoyle all over the back of him now. So Hallworth is going to probably lose this 4th spot. And Hoyle is, oh my goodness, he's just so quick with those right-handers.
He's got a confidence in that car. Thinks about sending it down the inside, but James defends quite well. But James ran wide, and Jack's just passing in traction.
It looks like James tried to get on the power early, and the car pushed wide and just left the door open. So Jack Hoyle now. Jack Hoyle's got 7 laps to try and close the gap to Felix Negwer for 3rd. So we will monitor that. Meanwhile, Thomas Scott has regained his bearings. And he's closing in the gap to Dave Meaghan for the 6th spot.
Tyler Rhodes only 2 seconds behind Brandon Glover. So Brand's not running away with this as much as I thought he would.
He was about 1.3 a couple laps ago, about 0.7 more second.
Yeah. But if Brand makes a mistake, then Tyler will just be straight back on him again.
And Collingwood has just set the fastest lap. He's currently running 8th. Now we're going to watch his battle here because 5th, 6th, and 7th are about to be on top of each other as Alexander Pastos picks up a 3-second time penalty. But James Hallworth, he's got Dave Meaghan behind him by about a second. Right behind him is going to be Thomas Scott. So 5th, 6th, and 7th are closing in on each other. Tyler Rhodes is actually, he's fighting hard to get that gap. He's maintained it around 2 seconds now.
Tyler's got some great pace in the mediums.
Adrian Storm has just said he is stuck in the pits. We pick up his feed.
Oh,
It looks
yes,
like he
he
pitted,
is.
and he is donezo. He is.
That happened to Louis Quinlan last week. Remember?
Yeah, exactly. But when Quinlan, it happened when Quinlan was pitted under a virtual safety car, and now the car is released. But he's officially a lap down. Meanwhile, Thomas Scott is about to make a move down into the hairpin. Side by side with Meekum. Meekum holds him off for now. And it looks like Tyler Rhodes has lost a big chunk of time that last lap. He's now 3 seconds off of Brandon Glover. Thomas Scott to the inside. The caution in Sector 1, not sure who that is. Thomas Scott down to the inside, makes the move to pick up the 6th spot. Oh, and that is Aaron. That was James Hallworth. Massive off.
Oh no, it was doing so well.
James Hallworth was having a great run today, and just a massive off at the S's. We just caught it on the left side of the screen as we were watching these two battle it out. Head on into the barrier.
Was it just a snap of oversteer and he just lost it?
It had to be. And here comes Aaron Collingwood. So, I mean, you lose one Ferrari and pick up another. So the battle for 5th, 6th, and 7th is still going to rage on as Collingwood has been running fastest lap after fastest lap.
I've just been looking at the gap between Felix and Tyler Rhodes as well. That gap is coming down.
Rhodes is losing a little bit of time. And this is actually semi-good news for Jorge Correa. He's going to move up a spot into 9th.
He's in the points. He'll be happy.
And Adrian Storm, even though he did get stuck in the pits, will pick up 1 championship point. And yeah, James Hallworth has said he lost the back end of the car, so maybe some snap oversteer headed through the S's. As we watch Dave Migdom try to get back to the inside of Thomas Scott.
Yeah, that was unlucky, James. He was having such a good race today.
That was really the best run of the year for James, and that was a really good run. That was the best run he's had in a long time. See, Aaron Collingwood's going to try and go around the outside of Degna 1. That's not going to work. To the inside of the hairpin. Can Meeknam do a crossover move? No, he can't get the power down quick enough.
Who would have predicted this top 3? Brandon Glover, Tyler Rhodes, and Felix.
And now Felix Negwer is under a second to Tyler Rhodes.
It could get him into turn 1, maybe.
Oh, big lockup by both drivers.
Yeah. I know Felix has got a penalty, but I'm not sure about Tyler. So Felix will want to get past Tyler as soon as possible and try and pull away.
Well, Tyler's going to make him go around the outside. They both run very wide. And a 3-second penalty.
That's unfair, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think that was. I don't think that's a good call by the game there. 3-second penalty. I mean, he was essentially pushed wide.
No, it's not Tyler's fault either. Tyler had the right to do that.
And Aaron Collingwood has just made the move on Thomas Scott for 5th as we continue to watch this battle for 2nd. Felix getting a little bit of his own medicine, though, being pushed wide like that. We saw how difficult Felix is to pit big lockup again as he heads into the hairpin. But we saw how difficult it is for people to get around Felix, and now Felix is getting a taste of his own medicine, trying to find a way around Tyler Rhodes. Depending on how this race ends, that 3-second time penalty may be looked at. He dives it in, he pushes them both wide.
Yeah. At this rate, Jack Coyle's going to get P2, which is not that far behind.
Meanwhile, this is all really good news for Brandon Glover. He's now pulled out to 4 seconds over this battle.
Yeah.
Tyler Rhodes back to the inside, out of the chicane, big lockup on the right front.
Goes for a switchback.
But now Tyler Rhodes is going to have the DRS advantage as they head down into turn 1.
Felix.
Oh, look at Felix dives to the inside to take away the defensive line.
I thought he was going to go straight into
the wall. And he's going to push Tyler wide. So Felix does the same thing to Tyler that Tyler did to him the lap before. Tyler doesn't get the 3-second time penalty, though. And it looks like Dave Meagham's made the move on Thomas Scott. Oh, and Scott comes back, bangs wheels with him. And they're side by side as they come out of turn 1 and up into the S's. Meagham's in the grass. Now Scott's in the grass. They bang wheels. Meagham is pushed into the gravel. And that was never going to work.
Yeah, that was dirty from Tom.
Oh, and Meagham is in the gravel again. Oh, and he's going to lose another position to the Alexander Bastos.
I wouldn't be surprised if Tom will get a penalty for that.
And that might get reviewed at the end of the race.
But look at Jack Hoyle. He's less than 3 seconds behind the battle between Tyler and Felix.
Well, while these two have battled it out, they've lost time to Brandon Glover, and they've lost time to to Jack Hoyle.
And as we know, Felix has got at least 6 seconds of penalties. I'm not sure what Tyler's got, but at this rate, Jack's going to be on the podium.
Well, that would be a great recovery drive for Jack. We didn't catch what actually happened to him.
Yeah.
But at one point, he did lose part of his front wing. Must have had it off somewhere.
I'm guessing he just got a throttle a bit too early.
Brandon Glover, though, 3-second plus gap over this battle for second. 2 laps to go.
And he's got a Sauber behind him of Jorge Carrera, I believe. Yeah. On fresh super softs.
Looks like Tyler Rhodes is... and he's still sticking with Felix, but he's not there putting the pressure on him. Meanwhile, Jack Hoyle is now down to 2 seconds behind these two as he heads in the spoon. He runs very wide coming out of there.
I think Tyler's fuel saving because he's going into the minus and positives, so he keeps flashing yellow, and it's fuel thing.
So 1 lap to go. Brandon Glover has started this lap. He allows the Sauber of Jorge Correa to go by.
Yeah, I was going to say, Brandon's lost a lot of time.
He's on the supers.
I think he let Jorge past.
And actually, Brandon Glover is losing chunks of time at this point. At 10, it's under 2 seconds now. He's just lost another 10. It's 1.7. Back to 1.8. This could be interesting coming down to the last little bit of this. Jack Hoyle picks up a 3-second time penalty, so that could be a factor at the end of this race.
Yellow flag set to 1. It's Thomas Scott. He's had a spin.
And Scott is off at the S's.
And then Renault went past him. So that's
while Tyler Rhodes and Felix Negwer. That's 1.7 now. I mean, it's a slight mistake by Brandon Glover. That could really cost them. They're going to be heading down the backstretch in the 130R.
I think Tyler knows about Felix's penalties, so I don't expect Tyler to go for anything here. And I thought Brandon...
Nothing overly dramatic here, but we're going to pick up Brandon Glover as he comes across the line. His first win in 492 days, first win of the year. Tyler Rhodes gets second. Jack Hoyle gets third unofficially. Felix Negwer comes home fourth. Aaron Collingwood is going to come home fifth. Alexander Bastos is going to come home sixth. And Dave Meegham is 7th. Thomas Scott has
Thomas
crashed.
Scott.
Oh no, Thomas Scott, he's going to be right in the middle of the way. Lucky for Felix Negwer, he is so far behind. No, not Felix Negwer, Jorge Correa. Luckily for Jorge Correa, he's so far behind that car will probably be gone by the time he gets there. So Jorge Correa should pick up the 8th spot.
Yes,
and that's going to be his. That's 3 races in a row that Jorge is going to come home with a finish. That'll be his second 8th place finish in the last 3 rounds. So Jorge.
Imagine if Jorge just crashes now.
We certainly hope not. Coming through the chicane one last time, but another big day for Jorge Correa. That's 3 races in a row that he's finished. Gets to come home 8th, put some more points on the board. So too bad for Thomas Scott. He is actually having a relatively good run today.
I think Tom just hit the bump a bit too hard, and the bump just sent him into the pit wall.
So there it is, Brandon Glover. We haven't seen him on top of the podium in a really long time, since season 4 last year. Tyler Rhodes and Jack Hoyle manages to do a recovery drive to get back to 3rd. We're going to say these are unofficial results because a one-time penalty may be looked at the end of this race. We'll see what the drivers report at the end of this race. So here's your unofficial results for today. That's going to be Brandon Glover brings home the win. Tyler Rhodes is 2nd. Jack Hoyle 3rd. Felix Negwer 4th. Aaron Collingwood is 5th. Alexander Bostow 6th. Dave Meegham picks up 7th. Jorge Correa is 8th. Thomas Scott 9th. Adrian Storm 10th. James Hallworth, Sabasic2, Paco Suarez, Ken Vilhoon, Louis Quinlan, Oysen, and Sondre Sorhaug rounding out the 17 drivers that started the race today, and obviously 11th through 17th, all DNFs, with the exception of Sondre Sorhaug, who picked up a very rare and very random disqualification. So rough day for him. Another unbelievable race. Granted, the championship was settled back at Monaco when Jack Hoyle won that race and ultimately won the championship, but the racing hasn't been any less entertaining knowing that Jack Hoyle's the champion.
Yeah, it's been a great race today. There's battle everywhere today. Every lap, there's just a battle between people.
And it looks like Felix Negwer is going to has a few choice words for Tyler Rhodes. However, I don't think Felix is in a position to say how you should defend a spot. I mean, granted, I think Tyler did the same that Felix had essentially done earlier in the race to other drivers. I mean, Felix is very good at making the car very wide, and I think Tyler did the same thing to Felix, and sounds like Felix could dish it out, maybe not take it, but we'll see what happens. Again, I do think the 3-second time penalty that Felix got should be reevaluated, and we'll see how that goes over the course of the next week. But other than that, I think it's a really good race all the way around.
Yeah, I think Felix will try and get that penalty removed, and I think, well, I guess me and you both agree that it should be removed.
Now, whether it's removed, I don't know how that would affect the finishing outcome, given the other penalties that were dished out throughout the course of the race. So that would have to be evaluated as well. But really, a really good race today at Suzuka. IRL always puts on a great show. And this was the penultimate round. This was round 20 of 21. So, guys, be sure to check us out in 2 weeks. We're not going to be racing next week because it's Easter, but in 2 weeks we're going to be in Interlagos to close out Season 5 F1 2018 on the PS4 platform. And then we'll be looking forward to the summer leagues, and there'll be more information on that on the YouTube channel and also on the website, internationalracingleague-irl.com. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment to the YouTube channel. Be sure to check us out online and see what's coming this summer. The Group 4 Summer League for Gran Turismo Sport will be kicking off towards the end of June, and there has also been some talk about possibly a short Formula One type trophy league during the off season, in between season 5 and the start of obviously season 6, which season 6 won't be kicking off until probably August or September.
Yeah, July, August time, I imagine.
So, guys, be sure to check us out online, like, subscribe, and comment, and we'll see everybody at the next round.